Tansen atute magtiar Wheatley Nisagasun Opasquac Uchanina. Welcome to APTN National News. A Manitoba First Nation woke up to some devastating news this morning. Their only school went up in flames. The school in Berens River First Nation can be seen fully engulfed in flames in different videos taken from community members. Manitoba RCMP told reporters they were called to the K-9 school at 3 a.m. Tuesday morning, adding no one was inside at the time. Berens River is about 275 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg. Chief and Council issued an air quality advisory urging residents to stay indoors, seal windows and doors to help reduce exposure to heavy smoke, saying, quote, "The fire poses a serious health risk, particularly to elders, children, and individuals with respiratory or other health conditions." It goes on to say the nursing station will remain open for emergencies. This isn't the first community building to go up in flames. In January 2025, the hockey rink burned down and still remains under investigation. Details in the school fire remain scarce at this hour. Now in Winnipeg, where occupiers of a derelict building advocating for its repair were left out in the cold on Monday. They say security and police evicted them from the property without notice, so sacred items and personal belongings are locked inside.
There's medicines all over. That whole table has medicine. Okay. There's bundles at the top which people can't grab if it's not yours.
Community members who've been occupying Thunderbird House since spring 2025 say sacred bundles and supplies for community outreach initiative Morgan's Warriors are now sitting inside unsupervised. The group was told to leave early Monday due to roof repairs and upcoming interior renovations. Circle of Life Thunderbird House was designed by world-famous architect Douglas Cardinal. It was used as a sacred healing and ceremonial space before its doors closed during the pandemic and the copper roof started falling apart. It received $2.8 million in federal funding for repairs in 2023. Winnipeg Police Service members were on hand to supervise the eviction. Meg Salwin says the repairs are only happening now because of their months-long demonstration.
My biggest concern is not only our bundles are being locked inside, is that you see my relatives outside here. How they stay warm is because we keep them warm. We give them blankets, we give them whatever, we give them firewood if they need.
We give them
food. Yeah, ceremony. We'll smudge them, we'll bring them water, whatever it is they need. And now it's not going to happen. Once we leave here, it's not going to happen. So how many of them are going to die out here? And who's going to answer to that?
We reached out to Thunderbird House Board Chair Colleen Rajat for comment. She told APTN News in an email, "We have deadlines to finish the renovations or we will have to return funding to ISK. Our focus is to get the building repaired and back to what it used to be, a cultural center for healing and a positive gathering place for our community." Rajat says the board has reached out to an elder to retrieve the sacred items left in the building. With roughly 8 weeks since a landfill search in Winnipeg began for a First Nations woman, Manitoba's Premier Wab Kinew says there are some encouraging signs that crews are looking in the right area.
We have got material out of the landfill that shows us we're in the right date range and also shows us that we are in the right route for where these trucks were picking up landfill material from. So that's a reassuring sign.
The search for Ashley Shingus began on December 1st of last year at the city-owned Brady Road landfill. Premier Wab Kinew told reporters at an unrelated press conference the search has turned up materials with dates that appear to line up with the timeline when Shingus went missing. While there are signs, Kinew continues to remind the public the search doesn't guarantee results. Shingus was believed to have been killed in early March of 2022. She was the first of 4 women to be brutally murdered by a serial killer in 2022. On August 2024, he was given a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. During the court process, Shingus was only known as Muskade Bijike Ikwe, or Buffalo Woman. Her identity was revealed in March 2025 after Winnipeg police re-interviewed the killer while in prison, which led to finding her DNA on a pair of pants that was collected inside his apartment. Last fall, Ganawage entrepreneur Robbie Dixon announced he was suing Quebec for $8.1 million, citing a violation of nation-to-nation trade as the province is confiscating his tobacco shipments en route to other First Nations. Our APTN reporter Savannah Craig reports.
Great.
This vehicle was seized during a delivery to Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Not an unusual experience for the drivers at Rainbow Tobacco.
What we're doing is nation to nation. We have treaty rights saying that this is completely legal for us. So I felt like a real victim of all these seizures going forward.
So we made 287, running at like 3,500?
Robbie Dixon is the president of Rainbow Tobacco, a Ganawage-based tobacco manufacturer distributor. Over the last year, Rainbow Tobacco had multiple seizures of tobacco products en route to other First Nations. Seizures have been occurring in Quebec, carried out by Provincial Police Force the Sûreté du Québec. According to court documents, Revenue Quebec cites one of the seizures is due to distribution and sale outside of Quebec.
You know your machine, Jesse.
APTN News spoke with Dixon in the fall of 2025 when he announced a lawsuit against Quebec.
We're suing for $8.1 million, which is based on the actual losses of those delivery shipments and the loss of business that they caused.
Now there have been developments in the case.
We received notice a few months later that they made a mistake and the shipment and the entire load was destroyed.
Dixon says Rainbow Tobacco applied to protect their product from being destroyed after it was seized. He says the Crown agreed, then later said it had been accidentally destroyed. In court documents, Revenue Quebec states it was unaware the product was requested to be returned.
On the 5th of December, we learned Quebec had destroyed a product that was supposed to be the subject of a court-ordered disposal and return.
Dixon's lawyer, Julian Faulkner, says the product was worth more than $30,000.
What happens when people or institutions or governments go where they shouldn't be and aren't supposed to be? Mistakes happen, and this is just a reflection of the blunders.
Rainbow Tobacco's lawsuit against Quebec is currently facing delays. Dixon said he was told by Revenue Quebec that it cannot provide a representative for the case in the coming months.
We were looking to get in front of a judge as fast as possible to try to stop this interventions in our trade network. And if you can't get some type of emergency decision making, then the legal system really isn't fair. That's how I see it right now.
Revenue Quebec told APTN News it would not comment on this case as it is before the courts. Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Montreal.
Tapwegi Savannah, and a documentary about basketball on the West Coast is making its world debut. Hear all about it after the break. Cheskwa. Come on in, beat the gwe. Saskatchewan's First Nations Health Ombudsman is calling for an independent body to investigate a number of incidents of alleged violence directed towards First Nations patients. Dr. Diane Lafond, along with the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, made the announcement in Saskatoon on Monday morning. With more, here's Christina Jacote.
Today, the First Nations Health Ombudsperson is calling for an independent inquiry.
According to the Saskatchewan's First Nation Health Ombudsperson, Dr. Diane Lafond, there have been 20 severe cases involving Indigenous male patients within the Saskatchewan Health Authority, or SHA. The most recent incident involved the death of 36-year-old Trevor Dubois at Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon on January 9th.
Trevor had an open complaint with our office. Trevor was already a client of ours back in September regarding treatment that he had already received within the healthcare system. Now that's appalling. That's concerning.
While receiving treatment for brain cancer, Saskatoon police say security officers entered inside Dubois' patient room where an altercation took place. Security guards attempted to restrain the man, however he became unresponsive and later died. Police say an imitation gun, methamphetamine, and drug paraphernalia was later found in the room. The family says the imitation firearm was a cigarette holder and lighter that was pink and yellow, and Dubois wouldn't hurt anybody. Lafond, alongside the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, alleged systemic racism and unfair treatment in that case. They are now calling for an independent investigation that includes First Nation consultation and engagement.
Thorough investigation, hands off from the Saskatchewan Health Authority and hands off from the Saskatoon Police Services. It's got to be done independently.
We want action to ensure this never happens again. And if the province does not respond favorably, then we are prepared to launch a class action based on the 550 files that the First Nations Health Ombudsperson has as evidence.
Lafond noted that in the more than 550 complaints they received since opening their office, they are seeing a pattern of Indigenous male patients mostly involved, including Bryden Lefever's incident at Prince Albert's Victoria Hospital, where security guards allegedly removed him from the ER waiting room and left him outside in minus 30-degree weather. In a statement to APTN News, SHA says it's committed to ensuring health facilities are safe and secure spaces for patients, free from racism and discrimination against First Nation and Métis families. Saskatchewan's Ministry of Health also announced last week that an independent external review has been ordered that will look at hospital safety and security. Shaw added, "The death of Mr. Dubois remains under active investigation by the Saskatoon Police Service and the Saskatchewan Coroner's Service, and the Shaw is fully cooperating with these investigations." Metal detectors are also being installed at most healthcare facilities, and healthcare workers are also calling for more security staff. This after the Saskatchewan NDP released these pictures last week of weapons seized, including machetes and knives, at a single metal detector at Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon. Lafond is also calling for security guards to wear mandatory body cameras and that the security footage captured will be held longer than 30 days for investigations to run more smoothly.
A documentary showcasing the importance of basketball to Indigenous nations on the West Coast is now being shown around the world. APTN's Tina House brings us that story.
It needs to be breezy, right? It's tough being the best.
Saints and Warriors is a documentary showcasing how basketball has kept Indigenous nations on the West Coast connected and strong.
And then you have culture being abolished, how we dressed, how we walked, how we talked. Everything around that was taken away.
So when they took our gatherings away, what do we have? We have basketball.
Patrick Shannon is the producer, writer, and director of the documentary.
Saints and Warriors follows my local village team, the Skidegate Saints, who are widely considered one of the greatest Indigenous basketball teams to play on the coast, often likened to the Chicago Bulls in the 90s.
Shannon is originally from Haida Gwaii, and he says this film isn't just about basketball, it's about culture.
Basketball is a bit of a bridge from the past into the present.
An historic agreement has been signed in the community of Skidegate on Haida Gwaii.
The Haida Nation made history on April the 14th, 2024, when they signed the first of its kind land agreement for Aboriginal title with the province of BC. The deal gave the Haida Nation rights, title, and recognition of over a 10,000 square kilometer archipelago of around 200 islands.
It's an exciting story. It's fun. It's using sport as an amazing entryway point in to learn about Haida culture, Haida history, and to see this amazing story of present-day sovereignty, but also relationship building and reconciliation in action.
And for Patrick, he's proud that this documentary is now being seen around the world.
This has been screening across Canada and the United States. We're going to New Zealand in March, but it's currently available online to rent or buy on Apple TV, Amazon, YouTube, but starting January 26th, we'll be streaming on Crave.
Tina House, APTN National News, North Vancouver.
Tapwagi Chatina. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, how do recent ICE actions impact your plans to travel to the United States? You can answer, I'm avoiding traveling for now, or I've canceled a planned trip, or I'm still okay with traveling, or are you unsure? You can go to our website, aptnnews.ca/poll to cast your ballot. And a musician turns author. We hear from the Cree man from Attawapiskat right after the break. Cheskwa. Tawau, welcome back. Starting on the East Coast, St. John's -5, Charlottetown -8. Nain -21, Happy Valley Goose Bay -19. Chibougamau is -22, Quebec City -14. Over to Sault Ste. Marie, minus 11. Windsor, also minus 11. Big Trout Lake, minus 21. Sioux Lookout, minus 22. Churchill, minus 17. Puckatawagan, minus 24. Berens River, minus 23. Brandon, minus 25. North Battleford, minus 24. Saskatoon, minus 27. Over to Uranium City, minus 33. Buffalo Narrows, minus 28. Moving to the west now, Fort Chipewyan, minus 14. Peace River, minus 2. Edmonton, minus 4. Lethbridge, 3 degrees. Bella Coola, 2. Campbell River, 6. Up to Dease Lake, minus 3. Smithers, plus 1. Over to the north, Old Crow, minus 25. Mayo, minus 10. Norman Wells, minus 21. Fort Simpson, minus 13. Over to Sax Harbor, minus 29. Colville Lake, minus 17. Cambridge Bay, minus 25. Baker Lake, minus 22. Resolute is minus 32. And Igloolik, minus 23. Attawapiskat First Nation singer and songwriter Adrian Sutherland has just added author to his resume. Penguin Random House released the work Of Our Hands, a Cree meditation on the real world on December 30th. The Juno-nominated musician reveals the reason his family remains in the First Nation in Northern Ontario, despite the challenges. Here's that interview with Adrian and our Dennis Ward.
Adrian, great to see you. Thanks for being with us and congrats on your first book. Can you tell us a bit about the work Of Our Hands, a Cree meditation on the real world?
Yes, absolutely. It's my first book that I've done. I'm a new author, so I'm really excited to get this book out and working on it for the better part of about 4 years now. So it's been quite a bit of time spent sort of shaping the stories in the book, and I was able to touch on a lot of different things, like growing up in Attawapiskat and what that looked like for me. And I think most importantly, it reveals a dimension of this place that most people have probably never seen before.
Why did you want to share your story and write a book?
Well, it's something, that's kind of been in the back of my mind for a while now. Just being out there, I think, on the land and having that connection to the land, always felt special to me. And going out there, I thought there were some experiences that I felt that were sharing, I think, with other people, and I thought maybe they could, maybe perhaps learn something from it, or could relate to it in some way. Particularly, what gathering fresh water looked like for me as a child and growing up, and to doing that throughout my whole life. I thought it would be interesting to kind of explore that a little bit more deeper.
I think a lot of Canadians might maybe only know about Attawapiskat through Crisis or something like that. What are you hoping that readers take away from the book and your experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with your point there. I think people know Attawapiskat for chaos and crisis, and I think there's no doubt there are issues here, and there are hardships. But I think people need to look past the mold on the walls, and if you look a little deeper, you'll see that people are actually active participants in surviving, raising their children, out harvesting. They're in a rhythm of living life up here, and I think even though you have a hard life, it doesn't mean that you can't experience beautiful things. At the same time, I think those two things can coexist.
A lot of Juno nominees might move to Toronto or a bigger center. What's kept you in Attawapiskat all these years?
Well, I think it's the biggest thing is having that connection to the land. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't stay here for the politics, and just having that peace and just being out there, it's always been something I hold close and dear to my heart, and I just find it would be really hard to find that anywhere else, like in a big city.
I wanted to chat with you about something else you recently did, the song I'm Not Afraid, written with youth from Kashechewan First Nation as part of their Choose Life program. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, I know. I went into Szechuan First Nation about a year ago, over a year ago now. We started going in and visiting their Choose Life program, and they have a group of youth there, teenagers that were really into this songwriting workshop that we kind of took in there, and that's the first time I've actually ever done anything like that as an artist, and it was something I absolutely enjoyed doing, and was. I think when you go into these communities, it's hard to know what to expect, but the kids were very giving. They were very expressive, and they were very excited to be a part of it all. And we had such a great time. And I made sure that they led the songwriting, and started to reveal that started to reveal this trend about being connected to the land and being out on the land. As you know, in the far north. Bands, a lot of communities are still, out actively participating in harvesting activities throughout the year. So that was very obvious in early on in the writing, and then that kind of sort of went with that theme, and we came up with this wonderful song.
Yeah, Szechuan, same thing, going through a rough period right now, and often in the news for those types of things. So the video was great to see. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we had such a whole load of fun there for sure.
Good stuff, Adrian. Well, it was great to see you. Congrats on the song, and of course on the new book. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks for having me again.
And a lack of support for families of missing and murdered Indigenous men and boys is the focus of tonight's all-new episode of Face to Face. Guest Isabel Daniels has been advocating for vulnerable and exploited people for years. She says not supporting families of Indigenous men and boys has consequences.
People don't realize that we're only supporting one half of our people. And I've said this before, but there's a ripple effect of all these children and these parents and these families that don't get the healing supports that the family of our murdered and missing women do. We don't ever see, not that often do we see leadership at cases of murdered men. Where's the media attention for those cases as well? And then for our men that are killed by law enforcement, they're not considered victims. So those families don't get to access victim services because they're considered suspects. And so that's even less supports that are given to those families of those people that are taken.
Looking forward to that conversation, Isabel and Dennis. And that's all the time we have for this afternoon edition of APTN National News. I'm TR Wheatley. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Join Dennis Ward again tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern for today's headlines and more. Until then, from all of us at APTN to all of you, Egase, Gitam, Gananasko Mitana,